Hey guys, and welcome back to another Remembering Forgotten Memories episode. I guess we're gonna start off the year with a bang with one that I really had no intention of actually sharing with you guys ever, even though some of you, upon hearing it, will probably go, holy shit, why did you not share that sooner? But we'll get there. We'll get there, especially as somebody who I think at least once, if not more than once, has gone on the record denying having a past in this. Mostly because I didn't want people digging for them. Because it makes me feel weird and squicked out and like, why do you want to see that from that age so badly? It raises a lot of red flags in my mind. And it sets off alarm bells. I get that in reality, for most people, it's probably a curiosity thing if they know that there's a past in it and then they seek it out, versus somebody just organically stumbling on it. And then it's like, what were you doing looking at those in the first place to be asking if that's me? So, anyway. When I said my first job ever was babysitting, that wasn't entirely true. It was true in as much that it was the first job I ever procured for myself, but it was not the first paying job I ever had in my life, actually. We have to go way back. Way back in the way back. To like 2 years old, or 2.5, whatever. I was a child model. There, I said it. Those of you who sussed it out years ago, you win. You win, yes. I was, in fact, a child model. And for those of you who did not suss it out, and are going, yeah, fucking right, it's like, yeah, I didn't always have the huge schnoz, you know, and I actually was a really cute little kid, and I'm not saying that to sound full of myself. That is just objectively true. And actually, if I have somebody directing me of how to pose, I'm actually very photogenic. It's when I'm left to my own vices that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So like selfies, they look like a hot mess. If somebody poses me though, oh my god, I do great. So anyways, I should probably provide the context and the backstory. I'm not giving brand names because I do feel really fucking weird about this. And why I'm even bringing it up now is because a couple months ago, somebody point blank asked, with a screenshot of an ad in question that did in fact have, like, a 3-year-old me in it, hey, is this you? And I'm like, what are you doing looking at 80s ads of little girls in 90s? What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? So, especially since this was a boomer, it was like, what the actual fuck are you doing? They got blocked. They will never be unblocked on this channel ever again, by the way, because it wigged me out that bad. And I had to take this whole topic, embarrassingly, to therapy, to unpack and figure out why I feel so weird about it. And so both protective, but also embarrassed, but also shamed about it. Even though I did nothing wrong. But, like, you know, it's got some weird squicky connotations when it comes at you sideways like that, and you've never let on that you even did that, yet somebody somehow fucking found it. And, so anyway. It's a whole ass thing. But, like, that particular person, like, they were giving stalker vibes anyway. Like, straight up stalker vibes. And they still follow me from channel to channel to channel and won't leave me the fuck alone. I've got about 3 of those going at this point. I don't like this. I don't like this. It's making me regret the whole YouTube thing, but I'm not quitting because it is my income, so. Anyways, going back to the beginning now. So, when I was a baby, evidently people approached my parents quite a few times from what I am told. I was a baby, I don't remember it firsthand, but I have been told this tale over and over. Of how people kept saying I should be a baby model, like I should have my photos submitted to Gerbers because I might be good enough to be a Gerber baby. Huh. My mom said, hell the fuck no, because she definitely felt some kind of way about that whole idea. I was just like, no way, I don't want my kid abused, you're just gonna take my baby away from me, and I'm never gonna see her again, and somebody else is gonna be raising my kid, I'm gonna have no idea what the hell is happening to her. No! Like, she hard-noped on that one, even though it probably would have been, like, a really good retirement plan, but if I had been selected, and probably paid into an account for me, but whatever. My salty, maybe a little. But anyway. So it did not happen in babyhood. It happened in toddlerhood. And it started because my dad, even though he's like an amateur at it, he's actually a really skilled photographer. And I mean, I was like his favorite subject to take pictures of because I was his only kid at that point. And I was very photogenic. Like, he would help pose me and tell me like what kind of face to make, and I apparently was really good at it. And he would take like these great professional looking photos of me all the damn time, and I loved it. I thought it was like the most fun thing at that point. So he kept running this idea past my mom over and over and over of, please, can I submit her to see if anywhere might want to use her for modeling? And she gave a lot of pushback against that. Understandably so. She'd heard a lot of horror stories and was very, very protective of me, even more so than she was when I was born, because my cousin died as a baby right around that time too, and then it was just me who was left around, so she went even more helicopter parent than she already was. But he eventually somehow wore her down. I'm not quite sure how he wore her down, but eventually got a reluctant, fine. Anything happens, it's on your head, and I will divorce you. So I was like, okay, well, he was no doubt present for every last step of this. She was not, because she was just like a nervous damn mess. She couldn't hang. So fine. That's fine. But so he started, like, shopping these photos around to different places, a lot of local boutiques that are, like, aimed at kids, mostly, and seeing if they needed a model that was about this age, this size. Here's her photos. She takes direction really well for being that young. Can you use her? And eventually he got some yeses. So, I mean, even though it's that early in my life, I actually do have some very early memories of that. I know, a lot of people can't remember before about 4 or 5. I can remember back to 2. A lot of things back to 2. So, that's apparently an autistic superpower, but, yeah. Anyways, so, did a lot of that, and for me, it was great fun, because especially at that age, they're not demanding a whole hell of a lot out of you. They basically need you to be able to put on the clothes, make the face, look the directions, pose a certain way, and they call it a day. Great. Fantastic. Most of these were just print ads, especially at that age, they were all print ads. They weren't anything like super lucrative. This is not the flex it sounds like, but they did happen. Most of them were very, very local brands to the Bay Area. Ones that are long since defunct, that unless you were from this area, you have probably never heard of. So fine. There was a bunch of those, and for me, it just felt like playing dress up and getting to take pictures. What's not to love about that? Like, isn't that like every little girl's dream? Come on. So, the money made from these, it was never very much off of any particular one of these assignments. It was like maybe $20 to $50 a pop. It was not much. But my dad was putting it aside in a savings account for me. It was never going to be make you rich kind of money, but it was intended to be put her through college one day kind of money, you know? So this slowly shifted as I got a little bit older. Hit about 3 and 4. But I was very small for my age and looked younger than my actual chronological age. So they were able to use that to their benefit, though. And this got me more jobs because they could pass me off as younger, but have the control of an older kid. Apparently this is a very well sought after thing. In advertising, in acting, like that's a sought after trait. If you have that combo, you're golden. So you don't have to be any raving beauty to do it, but that particular combination, as long as you are okay looking enough, they can probably use you as a kid. You get older, I'm sure it changes after a certain point. I wasn't in it that long to hit that point. Had things shaken out differently than they did, maybe I would have, but it's neither here nor there. We'll get to it. But anyway, so as I got a little bit bigger, 3 and 4, now it wasn't just clothing. Now it was toys, too, and that was a blast at that point. Because then, I mean, it's just like, think about, like, the Sears catalogs with toys, and I am not saying I was in the Sears one. I'm saying, as an example, they always needed kids playing with the toys, right? Well, where do you think they get these photos? It's people like me who got hired to play with them as they took photos of you playing with the toy and posing with it and shit. So, it's like that. It's nothing that is a huge fucking flex. But by the time I hit school age and certain classmates of mine found out about it, oh my god, this became the bane of my existence so fast. But before that point, it was nothing but great fun, and this started expanding the reach of where my dad was able to get work for me, basically. But the caveats were weekends only during the school year once I was in school age, unless it was summer vacation, in which case this opened up more possibilities. That was always a hard and fast rule, and if my grades dropped, that would be it. Again, never got far enough for it to be a problem, but it was never an issue for me. So, anyway, I have a loose hair. It's making me crazy. Where is it? There it is. Got it. Okay. Sorry. So, hit about 5. Still doing the same stuff. They're still aging me down in them, by the way, because I was so fucking small that, they were passing me off as, a 3-year-old a lot of the time, even though I was, 5, but again, neither here nor there. I didn't really care. But, let us not forget, I went to a private school the first 8 years of my school career. We'll call it my academic career. The particular class of kids I was in with were some of the shittiest, meanest kids I have ever met in my life. Public school didn't hold a candle to this. I had a great time in public school. I should have been there all along, but again, wasn't even my parents' choice. That was my grandparents doing that I was sent there. But this is where we hit the entitled children who felt they were more deserving of this than I was. Who does she think she is? I never even talked about it. Not once. I never was the one to bring it up, because I didn't feel it was relevant. I was already kind of a shy little kid anyway that kind of kept to herself. But once I started getting harassed over this, I was like, now I'm really closing up. And they took that as, well, she's just a snob. She thinks she's better than everybody. No, I was never a snob, and I never thought I was better than anybody, but I could see where it might come off looking that way, but it's like, I'm sorry, you're treating me like crap. Why would I want to play with you or hang out with you? In hindsight, looking at it through a psychological lens now, a lot of this may have been the parents conditioning the children to harass me, because if they couldn't hang out with me and try to let the parents get their hooks into my dad to figure out how is he getting me these jobs so they can get their kids these jobs, they're just going to harass me into oblivion. Typical kid stuff. You wonder why I feel some kind of way about this and my whole past, right? So it's just I have a lot of weird traumas that aren't the ones you would expect me to have from having that past. Because I'm sure you heard the words, I was a child model, and your mind went somewhere else knowing what kind of abuse I suffered as a kid. No, none of that ever happened from this. Not once. All of it was very on the level, very legit. No one was a creepy perv with me. None of that ever happened as a result of the child modeling. Just throwing that out there in case anybody's wondering that question. No, none of that happened. That was just my fucking uncle, but neither here nor there. Anyway, so fine. This increased further. Another year into it. I hit about 6, and finally I was at least being treated as a school-aged kid. But now I got a job modeling some of the school uniforms for the company that my school's uniforms came from. However, the uniforms I was modeling were not the ones for my school, by the way. Just throwing that out there, and oh my god, the epic shit show of people I went to school with who found out about that. Which again, I'm like, why are you guys paying that close of attention to what all I'm doing? It does not affect your life in any kind of a way. So unless this is a jealousy thing, I don't get it, but fine. Acting like I'm some kind of a traitor and I'm a horrible person. Oh my god, I'm not even loyal to the school. Dude, like, these kids, if they could find something to harass me with, they did, every time. It's why I get triggered by certain trolls on here who just run with anything and everything, because it kind of taps back into that whole trauma of that period of my early life. It's like, can we not? Can we not? I'm literally here, bothering no one, doing my own thing on my own channel. Just leave me the fuck alone, okay? If you hate me, fine, hate me, but just leave me alone. I'm not bothering you. Like, can we just skip it, please? So, anyway. Around this point was when I got a couple of commercial ads. However, before anybody gets excited, I was never the main focal point in them. I never had a speaking role. I was always just, like, cast as a background extra in the background playing like, again, I am using an example. It was not actually for Chuck E. Cheese, but something akin to Chuck E. Cheese, where they needed kids in the background playing on the playground area. I did have a couple of these, but they were not for Chuck E. Cheese, so don't even waste your time. I was not in a Chuck E. Cheese one, so similar, but not Chuck E. Cheese. But it was stuff like that. And those, evidently, were nationwide commercials. I'm like, oh my god. There was one for a company that was local to here, that I think was just Bay Area only, to the best of my knowledge. But the other ones apparently did get that kind of reach. And I feel really weird when I see, like, those retro commercial things. The, what's the word I'm looking for? The compilation videos from, like, the 90s. And I hit one of them. I'm like, I'm in that. It's happened a couple times to me now. It's always weird. It's never going to be not weird for me. And it's just like, I have no reason to feel embarrassed about it. It was cool at the time. I had a great experience filming it and everything. Didn't take more than a couple days tops on any of these because, again, I was not in a speaking role. I was not a focal point role. I was kind of just a background kid extra. Story of my life. I am never the focal point, but that's fine. I'm actually great with that. I don't need to be the center stage. I think the main reason I didn't get those kind of roles are because we had to use a flipper for my front teeth when I was at that age because my teeth were fucked. It was before I had my teeth fixed. So, with that in, if you thought I have a lisp naturally, yeah, you should have heard me try to talk with that fucking thing in. So, speaking roles were never going to be an option for me, unfortunately, but, which sucked because I really wanted to as a little kid, but it was just like, yeah, no, that's not what we need you for. It's like, oh, okay. And I think I kind of assumed I'd eventually get there, but no, it's not happening. So, that's fine. But yeah, so there wasn't a ton of those. I think there was only one where I had to travel out of state to film it. And it wasn't like that far. It was like 2 states over. It was nothing exciting. It was like 1 weekend, done. But I did these until I was 8. And I had that horrible bike crash. And it all came to a screeching halt. So, anyways, let me backpedal a little, because I remembered a detail I did leave out that I should have included from probably around age 5. This was never pageant mom kind of shit. This was not pageantry. The closest to that I ever hit was like a single children's fashion show. Yeah, that was the closest thing to anything ever being a little squicky, because it was like, why is there a bathing suit part of this whole thing? Made me feel weird even at 5, mentioned it to my dad. I said, I don't want to do one of those again. So we never ever did. So, I mean, props to my dad for very much respecting my autonomy on that. Like, all the props to my dad, like, listening to me on what my needs were and how I was feeling on all of it. Because he was wonderful with that. Because I feel like my mom would have taken that as, just pull her from all of it, I told you it was a mistake, because she overreacts to every fucking thing. But anyway, but yeah, that was the only thing close to weird, and the only thing even close to pageant showy kind of shit, like, that was not what this was at all. This was, like, very mundane, usually just modeling clothes stuff. The toy ones were more fun, the location ones were more fun, but most of them were just clothes. So, anyways, so fast forward back to 8 now, because, yeah, now we have it all included of what I wanted to say. I had that horrible bike crash where I busted my nose and, like, pretty much scraped up the whole upper part of my face so bad that, like, that's part of why I wear makeup all the damn time, is to cover the scarring from that, because I'm still really, really insecure from it. Plastic surgery was an option. I could have had the nose fixed at that age. Would not have even been that big a deal. My dad, by default, wanted me to. My mom was even saying, you really don't want to leave it like this. But I was begging, I don't want to go under the knife, I'm scared of surgery, I don't want to go through surgery. And I begged and pleaded, and they made it very clear to me. Okay, you don't have to. You can just live with it the way it is. But if you do that, nowhere's going to want to hire you anymore. Now, that doesn't sound like that big of a deal. And honestly, they were being honest with me. But as a little kid, the implications of saying that to a little kid who's already just gone through the trauma of going through a huge-ass crash like that, has fucked up her face irreparably from it, the implications of that, of what that does to your self-esteem and your psyche, basically told me that literally the only thing I matter for is what I look like. And now you don't have the look, so you don't matter, is what I heard out of that. Could I have changed my mind at exactly that moment and decided, no, never mind, you can fix my nose? I could have, but I didn't. Clearly, I didn't. Would it have been smarter if I had? Probably. I've had nothing but problems with my sinuses ever fucking since. That's part of why my voice is so fucking annoying, because I have a deviated septum now. Like, I could have it, like, covered by insurance, having it fixed. But at this point, I feel like that ship has sailed, because now I'm allergic to all of the NSAIDs and, like, half of even the prescription pain meds. I'm like, you expect me to go through that? And I've seen how nose jobs are done with nothing but Tylenol? Fuck right off. That's not happening. I will live with it and just be ugly, I guess. But anyway. Yeah, it came to a screeching fucking halt, which was brutal. And unfortunately, I feel like excuse me, I feel like it did kind of shift the way I got treated after that, because now I wasn't bringing in money, which, I mean, again, it wasn't going towards the household, it was being put in an account for me to use one day. But I think my dad had his oh shit moment over, now I'm still gonna be stuck paying for college, aren't I? Fuck. But it's like, he thought he had found the perfect loophole, he thought he had all figured out, and that, oh my god, thank god I had a Capricorn as a firstborn, look how hardworking she is, even as a little kid, this is great. And then it all went out the window. Granted, that crash happened because of him, so I mean, it's kind of by his own hand either way, but it's like, oh man. But yeah, I thought maybe wishful thinking, since a lot of them really were after just that, like, super average girl next door look. They didn't need, like, super stunningly pretty. That wasn't what they were looking for. Not for that age. And granted, it was probably some kind of a blessing that I got out of it at 8, and not even a little bit later, because I feel like I probably would have encountered bigger problems the older I got. Like, at least I was spared being given an eating disorder as a result of this, even though I developed one anyway, but, like, it probably would have happened that much quicker, but already happened ridiculously young, but, like, was spared that at least, was spared anybody perving on me as a result that might have happened in teens or later if I had kept doing it. At least I was spared those things. So, I mean, silver linings, right? But it did really fuck with my whole sense of self-worth and self-esteem, and I'm still grappling with that to this day, which sounds so stupid over, ooh, wow, so you couldn't be a kid model anymore with the Crimea River. I know, and that's part of what fucks with me, is that knowing that it affects me so much, and yet it's so trivial. Like, I am aware of that. That also feeds into it. These are the kind of things I am working through in therapy. Leave me alone. But, like, it was one of those, like, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away, just as quick. It's like, oh, cool. Okay. That sucks. That sucks. And oh, those same kids who were so shitty to me when I was actively getting those jobs, They had a fucking field day with it when it all came to a screeching halt. Oh my god, like, it was the best day of their lives, and they lorded it over me for probably 3 years solid. I wish I were exaggerating that right now, but I am not. Some of them matured, grew up, and apologized years later. Some of them did not. So, but unfortunately, I still run into some of them. But, yeah. That was my experience of what it was like being a child model and why I'm so weird about it, because I do still have trauma wrapped up in that, and it's one of those things where, how do you just, like, drop something like that without sounding like a douchebag who's just full of themselves? Because that's not it. It was never about that. I still feel hell of unworthy of having done as many of them as I did, actually, but, like, I mean, they were nothing that fancy, they're nothing that exciting, and given how wigged out I got with the one guy actually finding one of them in the wild, not knowing that I had that pass, I'm just like, okay, can we just make a deal right here and now? If you should organically stumble upon one that you even think might be me, which is pretty obvious because even as a tiny little kid, I have always had the same face minus the big schnoz. I have always looked like the same human from literally the day I was born. I am not one of those people who grew into her face. I'm like, have literally always had the same face from the day I was born. So if you should stumble upon one you are fairly certain is me, be it one of the print ads or one of the, like, commercial ads, please don't tell me. Just keep it to yourself, keep it under your hat. You don't have to say everything out loud. You can keep thoughts up here and not feel the need to tell me or to talk about it. You can have the smug knowledge that you tracked it down, alright? But it wigs me out with that kind of thing, because it just feels like, why were you looking for that? And it sends up all of the red flag alarms for me big time. It's a massive trigger. Please don't tell me if you run into them, because I don't want to know. Like, yes, they are out there. They will be out there forever. I know for a fact it's going to be an inevitability that some of you, knowingly or unknowingly, are going to run across them, especially as it's getting to be a trendier and trendier thing that people are finding, like, old-ass catalogs of just anything and scanning every page and putting them online on the nostalgia pages. I have run across my own damn self a few times that way. And I'm like, oh, this makes me feel weird. I mean, I have a moment of, hey, there I am, but there's just like, oh god. There's a lot of people who are now seeing this image who probably never would have, who are likely weren't even born yet when this was printed. Like, it feels fucking weird. This is what tells me I could never handle being an actual celebrity. There's no way in fuck, but it is what it is. My small claim to fame, if you could even call it that. Because, again, it's literally nothing that exciting. It is just luck of the draw of being in the right place at the right time and my dad knowing who the fuck to go to about it. Because you have to remember, I'm in the Bay Area. So I'm in close proximity to San Francisco, San Jose, Napa, like a whole shit ton of places where a lot of these are either filmed or they're photographed. So it's kind of a hub for those. So it's not nearly as impressive as if I was, like, discovered and then, like, flown around the No, it was nothing like that. No, I was not raking in big bucks. No, these were largely not national things. Like I said, there's a handful. There's a handful that were national. But a lot of them were just very local, like, Bay Area brands that, like, maybe they're California chains, maybe they're just Bay Area. Some of them are just a one-off location, but they needed models to show what they have for their print ads that would go in the newspaper. So, is what it is. I mean, back then, like, the newspaper circulars were a much bigger deal than, like, today when newspapers are basically defunct anyway and everything's online now. I feel like there's a bigger impermanence to ad culture now than there was back then, because there was a concrete, physical thing back then. Digital stuff, it runs its course, and yeah, sure, somebody might save it, but, like, unless somebody does, a lot of them will run their ad campaign, and then it's never seen again, and it goes poof into the ether, and you never have to think about it again. I'm almost jealous that that wasn't the world I was born into, but here we are. So, but yes, that is my story. I am not going to point you in the direction of any brands. I gave you more than enough clues if you are so inclined. I am not giving you any more than that. And again, please do not tell me if you find them. I don't want to know. If you tell me you did, I will probably block you on sight. Just throwing that out there, because it freaks me out too much. Okay, bye! No. But I am gonna, like, wrap this up, because, yeah, I told you, it was a biggie for being the first one of the year, and after taking basically all of December off as a hiatus. You know what, I never take December off to just enjoy the holidays, and I did this year, and I'm proud of me for that. So, yeah, you guys didn't get content for a month, you'll live. I've been doing this 20 years as of the next month. Valentine's Day, next month, is my 20-year anniversary on this website. I have historically always been super active on here in December. I took 1 year off. You'll live. I'm not leaving the platform. I just took a vacation to just enjoy life for a change. I think I deserve that after 20 years and over 5,000 videos for you guys. I think you understand. So anyway, God, it feels weird doing the sign-off now after so long of being away from it. It always does when I take a break and hit that. You're in inertia and then whack, you hit a brick wall, and then it's like, how do I do the thing? I forget how it goes. Anyway, you guys know what to do. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you're not already and you'd like to be, click subscribe, hit that notification bell icon so you never miss an upload, leave comments down below. Make sure you're following my social media accounts, my Facebook fan page, my Twitter, my Instagram, my eBay, my Reddits, everything and more. It's all down below. And if you like what I do here on this channel and you'd like to help support it, the donation link, as always, is down in the description. Get your name on the end card for a month from the time of donating. Anyway, guys, till next time, see ya.